Before dawn, the sun had not yet climbed above the roofs of Kijani when Io opened her eyes. Heat already sat in the air, heavy and unmoving, as if the day had been awake long before her. She lay still for a moment on the thin raffia mat spread across the kitchen floor, listening. Pots rested against the wall. A cracked mortar leaned near the hearth. Somewhere outside, a goat bleated once and went quiet. Io rose before the rooster crowed. She always did. She folded the mat and slid it behind the firewood stack, careful to leave no trace of where she slept. Madame Kemi did not like reminders that the kitchen had become a child's room. Io picked up the broom and began to sweep. The clay floor was already clean, but Madame Kemi believed work done twice was work done right, especially when Io was the one doing it. Dust curled softly with each stroke. The door slammed open. "You slow, miserable child." Io turned. Madame Kemi stood with her wrapper tied tight, eyes sharp with irritation. Behind her, Tommy and Tenny leaned against the wall, ground nuts cracking between their teeth. "I was finishing, Ma," Io said. The slap came fast. Io fell sideways, the broom skidding away. Pain flared across her cheek before she could breathe. "If your mother were here," Madame Kemi said, grabbing the broom, "she would regret birthing you." The broom struck Io's back, then her legs, again and again. Io clenched her teeth. She had learned that sound only invited more blows. Tommy laughed softly. "She doesn't even cry anymore." Tenny nodded, like a goat waiting for slaughter. When Madame Kemi finally stopped, her chest rose and fell hard. "Fetch water, sweep the compound, wash clothes, pound pepper. If I see you resting, yes, Ma," Io said, already standing. She wiped the blood near her brow with her sleeve and lifted the empty clay jar. She did not look back as she walked toward the river. The path to the river cut through tall grass and scattered stones. Io walked slowly, her leg aching with each step. By the time she reached the bank, the sun had begun to glow faintly behind the trees. The river moved gently, its surface catching the early light. Io knelt and dipped the jar into the water. As it filled, her hands shook. The tears came without warning. She did not sob. She let them fall one by one into the river. The water carried them away, as if it understood. She remembered her mother's hands, warm, steady, always smelling of smoke and tomatoes. Io had cooked jollof like it mattered, like each grain had a purpose. "Food must heal the heart," her mother used to say. Io touched the clay pot pendant around her neck. It was smooth from years of handling. Her mother's last gift. "Mama," Io whispered, "guide me." A shadow fell across the water. Paduro stood beside her, leaning on his fishing staff. "You're crying again," he said. "It's dust," Io replied. Paduro snorted. "The dust follows you too much." He watched her fill the jar, then helped her lift it onto her head. "Go before that woman sends someone to drag you back." Io nodded. As she walked away, Paduro watched her back. "Some children are born carrying more than their age," he muttered. By nightfall, Io's body felt hollow. She had washed clothes until her fingers wrinkled, swept the compound twice, and pounded pepper until her arms trembled. Madame Kemi ate with her daughters inside, laughter spilling through the doorway. Ioya was given scraps later, cold and tasteless. She curled onto her mat, exhaustion pulling her under. The dream came quickly. Steam filled the air, thick and warm, smelling of tomatoes and firewood. Through it stepped Io. She glowed softly, her face calm, her eyes full. "My daughter," she said. Io tried to run to her, but could not move. "Mama, I buried a gift for you before I left this world," her mother said. "A pot that never empties. It obeys a heart that gives without greed." Io swallowed. "Where is it?" "Under the Iroko tree behind the village. Under its roots." "Why now?" Io asked. "Because you are ready." The steam thickened. The dream faded. Io awoke with her heart racing. Outside, the wind moved through the trees like a whisper. Io left before dawn, carrying only a small digging tool. The path behind the village was narrow and rarely used. Birds stirred as she passed. The Iroko tree stood where her mother said it would, tall, massive, its roots twisted across the ground like old veins. The air around it felt still. Io knelt. "Great tree," she said softly. "I come with peace my mother sent me." She dug carefully. The soil was cool beneath her hands. After a while, her tool struck something solid. She uncovered a clay pot, decorated with cowries and red beads. When she lifted the lid, warm jollof rice swirled inside. Steam rose and shaped words in the air. "I feed many, but I belong to one." Io stared. Her hands shook. She closed the lid and lifted the pot, cradling it like something alive. Io carried the pot to the riverbank. Paduro was there, mending his net. "I want you to taste this," Io said. Paduro eyed the pot. "What is it, please?" He shrugged and sat. Io scooped a small portion onto a leaf. Paduro took one bite, then another. He stood so fast his stool tipped over. "Village," he shouted, "come and taste this." Within minutes, people gathered. Io served quietly. The pot refilled itself after each serving. By noon, the riverbank buzzed with voices. Word spread quickly. Traders, elders, and travelers came to taste the jollof. No matter how many plates Io served, the pot remained full. They began to call her Io Olowo Ikoko. Io did not ask for money. She did not ask for praise. She only cooked. From the crowd, Tomi and Tenny watched with narrowed eyes. Madame Kemi listened to the songs from her hut. Her jaw tightened. "That girl," she said. "There must be a secret." Tomi leaned closer. "Secrets can be taken." Madame Kemi smiled thinly. During the New Yam Festival, drums filled the air. Io's stall stayed busy. Tomi and Tenny waited until the noise peaked. Then they slipped behind the stall and lifted the pot. Io turned and froze. "No mama's pot." Her cry cut through the night. The Step family cooked with the pot. The rice appeared, but something was missing. Visitors frowned. Elders whispered. "This rice has no soul," they said. The pot fed them, but coldly. One night, the pot shook violently. Steam formed Io's face. "You took what was not offered." By morning, the rice turned black, then ash. The fame ended. Heartbroken, Io returned to the Iroko tree. She knelt. The pendant warmed. The earth stirred.